bring to the bins and what I don't, my quality checklist and review process, and my best strategies for making the most of your trips. So if that sounds good to you, I hope you'll stay tuned. What's up, mamas? I'm Rebecca. You're watching the Reseller Mom Show, where we try to get more done, make more money, and stay sane while raising kids and reselling online. I appreciate you being here today. If you are a subscriber, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. I get so excited each time I get a new subscriber. So thank you for coming and welcome back. If you have not subscribed, we do all kinds of reseller content specifically geared towards moms to get more done, make more money, and just kind of balance being a reselling mom. I do a lot of what sold videos, a lot of Goodwill hauls, and also kind of like deep dives into things that I'm working on, specific reseller topics like working with a virtual assistant, having a storage unit, and things like this, strategies for the Goodwill bins and Goodwill outlet. So let's get right to it. If you have ever been to the Goodwill bins, I would love for you to leave a comment below, or if you've never been to the Goodwill bins, leave a comment below. I'm just kind of curious kind of where everybody's coming from and what they're doing or what bins they go to, and what your experiences have been. So please go ahead and leave me a comment below. I would appreciate it. So diving right in, and I set up a couple of graphics. I don't know how long it's going to take them to load, so hopefully it goes well. Okay. What I bring to the bins. So I actually found a fanny pack at the bins, like a vintage NFL, really simple, basic fanny pack, and that's what I use now. I used to use kind of like a crossbody faux leather like pouch that I got in Mexico, but that's since busted. And so even though I used that thing for years, now I'm onto the fanny pack since those are kind of in style. So I have a fanny pack, that's what I wear, and in that fanny pack is my hand sanitizer. I go through hand sanitizer like mad. I'm sure any of you that go to the bins often do. And so my recommendation would be to buy a case from the dollar store so that you're not always buying them all the time. It's a pretty good price. They come in like a 3-pack. And you can order a case of the 3-pack, and I'm still working through them for a little while, so it lasts you a long time. That's what I do. I have my Goodwill rewards card. We have a loyalty program, so I get points, and I bring that with me. I bring my business credit card, and I bring my reseller license. I'm in the system as a reseller, so all I have to do is give my phone number, and I get my tax-free, but because we pay tax on clothes here in Florida. But I do bring my reseller license just in case there's ever an issue. You don't want to be stuck then having to pay tax. I bring my phone, and that's in my phone clip on my waist, and I bring my AirPods. Sometimes I listen to things, sometimes I don't. It depends on if I know other people that are there, at the bins in that particular trip or not. Sometimes I take them in and out. I usually try to listen to some YouTube videos or some podcasts, and every once in a while a book on tape, though I do find it's kind of hard to concentrate on the book. Or an audiobook, I should say, not a book on tape. An audiobook when I'm at the bins because I'm trying to focus. Let's see, I bring a snack in my fanny pack, and I think you've seen on Instagram, I've posted a couple of them, and I'm going to post more just because I'm always on the hunt for cool and new reseller snacks, and those are snacks that I bring to the bins that are easy to carry, that don't require like refrigeration or whatever, and that I don't need my hands to eat. So like a banana, you can peel it, you don't have to actually touch it, because your hands, even if you hand sanitize or go to the bathroom, wash your hands, I still feel really gross. So like I can eat a banana when I'm there. I can eat, like a granola bar. Right now I'm really into the RX bars. And so like you can open it without really touching it, and that makes me feel good. Sometimes I bring like a little plastic cup full of cashews, and I can kind of just like dump it into my mouth. So I just don't want to touch my snacks when I'm there because I feel super gross. So I bring a bottle of water, and I've done this before where I go to put my cart and I've left the water bottle in the cart when I check out. Oh, such a rookie mistake. So don't do that. If you bring a water bottle or bring any bags or anything of your own, make sure you take it out of the cart before you pay, because you're paying by the pound. And then the last thing is I wear my crappy clothes and I wear my sneakers. I'm there to work. I'm there to, just jam it out. And so I'm not trying to look cute. I don't care what I wear. And as soon as I come home, everything comes off. I don't even touch Geo or anything or sit anywhere or anything. I get rid of those clothes right into the hamper, and I take a shower as quickly as possible as I can. So that's what I bring to the bins. Here's what I don't bring to the bins. I don't bring a mask. I see people with masks. I don't bring a mask. I just don't. You can if you want to, that's fine, but I don't bring a mask. I also don't bring gloves. I see a lot of people with gloves. I get why you would want to wear gloves, but in some of my strategies, I'll explain why it wouldn't really lend themselves to wearing gloves. Gloves don't work for me. I like to have my hands. I like to touch and feel. I think that's important to my success. So I don't bring my gloves. I don't bring my kids. I don't bring them. Lots of people bring their kids. And if you have to, it is what it is. Every bins is different. Some are in better neighborhoods. Some aren't. Some are skeevier than others. Some aren't. Ours are not too bad, but I still wouldn't bring my kids. But people do bring their kids. And I think it sucks. If you have to, then you have to. And you have to do what you can to make money. And if you can't pay for daycare and you got to bring your kids with you, I get that. More power to you. Working mama. But I would never bring Gio there. It breaks my heart to see these kids there when they touch things. It drives me crazy. If they ever put something in their mouth, it drives me crazy. And they're just sitting there watching a phone and watching videos on YouTube or whatever they're doing. They're not really getting anything out of it. And so, you do what you got to do, but I don't bring my kids. I also don't bring my dogs. This isn't on there, but I don't bring my dogs. Some people bring their dogs, whatever. Maybe it's a support animal. I don't bring a purse at all, and I don't bring anything extra. So everything I told you that I bring, that's what I bring. I don't bring anything extra. I don't want to have a lot of my own stuff. I don't want to have to keep track of it. Every once in a while, somebody walks off with your cart or whatever, and so I just don't want to be responsible for anything else that I don't need to be. So I literally, I don't bring my own credit card or any of my own cash or any personal money or anything. I only bring business stuff, the very, very minimum of stuff. So that's what I don't bring to the bins. Next, we're going to go over, and if you have any comments on this, if there's something that maybe you bring to the bins that you find that's really helpful and you want to share it, please go ahead and leave it in the comments below. If there's something that you don't bring to the bins and you want to share it, please leave that in the comments below as well. I'm trying to be better about getting you guys engaged with comments because I would love to respond to. I respond to every single comment that I see comes in, and I'd like for them to be there. Right now, my channel's still new, but in the future, people may want to see what the community has to say. Next is my review process. So I took a couple pictures. I wish I could have done a better way to show this, but it's kind of hard to do it when you're at the bins. So I fill a cart, and it may just be that they're not doing any new turnovers. It may be that they're doing turnovers like crazy, but I just fill the cart to the absolute brim till I can't anymore. And then right before I think they're going to do another turnover and there's going to be fresh stuff, that's when I review my cart. That way my cart is free and clear and open again for the new section that they're going to open. So what I usually do is take the giant filled cart that you see here and bring it over to the, wherever there's windows. So in the back of this, and you don't see me pointing, but in the back left, there is the doors, and that's where the most sunlight is. And so I try to go over in that corner and basically park my cart and bring another cart over. And sometimes I stand in the middle of them, and sometimes they're long ways and sometimes they're horizontal. But basically I go in the middle and I pick stuff up from the one side that's full, and I do my quality check, and I'll go over that in a second. And then I put it in the cart that's empty, and that's the stuff that I'm going to keep, and everything else goes back. And right now at this point, I'm just basically checking for quality as I review it. My quality checks, which I'll go over, and being able to see it near the sunlight, I feel is the best way. I mean, you're still going to probably miss stuff from time to time, but I feel if I go where there's the most light, it's the easiest to review. And I dump everything into the new cart that I'm going to take one by one. Then once I go through that, it looks like this. And then I actually go through it one more time and research anything I need to research, double check that I really want this. I've really been trying to be more disciplined in my sourcing and not just take home stuff on a whim. So I've been trying to research things more, trying to make sure that things are going to be of a higher dollar value, and that it's a brand and not just some random thing that I picked up that I think is cute, because for me, I just don't have good luck with that. So I kind of do a triple check after the quality check of just like, yes, do I want this item? And you usually keep most things and I throw back a handful. And so then it gets whittled down and then I go and check out and then it kind of looks like this. As far as my quality checklist, here is what I have put together. Now, sometimes depending on the item, there may be more or less things, but this was what I could brainstorm. So quality checklist. First thing I do is check the tags. Does it have tags? Does it have a brand tag, a size tag, a material tag, and possibly even the date on the tag, or some way to tell if it's a more recent piece or an older piece. If it doesn't have all of these things, sometimes I still pick it up. It depends on what it is. So I'm not going to get into all of those things, but if it doesn't have a material tag and it's a bathing suit, I don't care. Like, it's a bathing suit, it's going to be stretchy, it's going to be some sort of spandex or whatever. I don't even know. And so I'm not too worried about it. But if a bathing suit doesn't have a size, that's going to be pretty hard to deal with. And so I'm not going to pick that up. And I've been really good lately about if it doesn't have a size tag or if it doesn't have a brand tag, putting it back. Because I feel like that's kind of a deal breaker. Material, not so much, because you can still kind of describe it. But brand and size, I feel like, are deal breakers. And for some people, date is a deal breaker. I'm not so much with that, but maybe over time I will be. I overall check the garment for any stains or rips or anything like that. So first I check the tags, then I kind of give it a once over on the front, on the back, checking the sleeves, checking the pant legs, all of it. Then I specifically check the armpits, and I've had some trouble with this in the past where I kind of did an overall check, but I didn't really check specifically in the armpit area, and I ended up taking it home and it either had really bad pit stains or it had just like straight up holes. And some things you can repair and all of that, and a lot of people do that stuff. I just can't fit it in. I don't want to do it. I don't like to do it. I don't really know how to do it. I just can't fit it into my world. When my mom comes in snowbirds, I keep like a giant pile of things for her to like mend and like stain remove, and it's so bad. But then when she goes away and goes back to New Jersey and isn't here to help me anymore, I kind of like, listen, I can't do this. And so I don't pick up any of that stuff that has something that I don't feel confident that I can quickly fix. So armpits is definitely an area that I've really learned to zero in on. Zippers, even still sometimes I forget, but you always want to check that the zipper works, that it's in there, that it's fully attached still. Sometimes, you could check that the zipper works and then all of a sudden you realize that it's like detached, like the zipper part of it is no longer attached to the garment. And so that would be no good unless you can fix it, which I won't. Neck and collar sweat, so just generally checking the neck area, but looking specifically at the inside ring around the collar type thing for that kind of yellowy sweat. I feel like I get a lot of this with like when I'm doing some sort of vintage denim. I love picking up like denim vests and denim jackets, and so I run into a lot of problems with that. Every once in a while with just some other items, but mostly I feel like it's because I like to try to pick up a lot of denim jackets and vests. Let's see. Does it have all the buttons? So that's critical for some sort of button-down item, whether it's a dress or a shirt. You want to check that all the buttons are there. Is it hemmed or altered? Usually on the pant legs is usually where the issue is. And so lately I've been getting into the habit of kind of flipping the cuff and checking to see if it's been hemmed or altered. Wrists. So just mostly on jackets, and I guess for a while I just didn't look closely enough, but I ended up with like a lot of jackets that were just so dirty on the wrist. And obviously you think if it's something that's white or a lighter color, you really want to check for stuff like that. But then even still, like there were just some kids jackets and some jackets that I ended up, like, I don't know what I was thinking. And so this is something I'm trying to pay attention to more, is really looking at the wear, staining on the wrist, and even in the elbows too. And then smell. And this is something I have a real difficulty with because I don't have a good sense of smell. Every once in a while I can pass by a bin and be like, oh, this is no good, and I don't even deal with the bin. But a lot of times I don't. And so I really actually have to pick up the item and smell it. And I hate doing that because it gets it so close to my face and I don't want to touch it with my face. Like, I'm really germy about that. I don't like, I'll touch the items with my hands, but then I try to do whatever I can to get the germs off my hands. I just don't want to put it by my face. But I just, yeah. So try to smell it because you don't want to pick up stuff that smells. And I've had some trouble with this where I've had a few cases where people have said something about a smell. And now I really feel like I don't have an issue with it. But then there was one whole batch that like one thing smelled like mothballs, and I put it in with everything because I thought maybe I could try to get the smell out. My mom was here. I was like, maybe we could try to figure it out. And then the whole bag smelled like mothballs, and I had to get rid of a lot of it. And she tried to get the smell out of a lot of them. So I'm just over with smells right now. Like, that's done with the smell business. I'm looking back at my notes because I had another section. So for strategies, I did not make like a slide because it was more just talking points. So I'm just going to go back to this slide and then generally tell you. So here are my just general overall strategies. Get to know your crowd. Usually at the bins or the Goodwill outlet, there's the same people that come all the time, kind of regularly. Maybe they don't come every day. Maybe some people are a weekend crowd. They come on Saturdays. Some people are an afternoon crowd because they come whatever. And then some people are the morning crowd. But it's good to just kind of generally be friendly and know who's there and what they do and what they look for and try to help each other out. As far as if I know that somebody looks for vintage t-shirts, I throw the vintage t-shirt to the guy, and sometimes he throws me something. There's somebody that deals with all sports stuff. When I find something sports, I'll throw it to him, and he'll throw me something. I've got a buddy, Steven, if he's watching, hey, shout out, and he always throws me ugly Christmas sweaters because he knows I love them, and he does like a lot of sports and men's stuff. So when I find something that I think might work for him, I send it to him, and it's just nice to be friendly. And we're all in it for something, and we're not all in it for the same thing. And so you can not be competitive with everyone. I mean, there's definitely some people that you should be competitive with because you're looking for the same things, but you're not in direct competition with everyone. And so it's nice to kind of make buddies. So that's my first tip, and kind of one of the biggest. So the other thing I wrote here, I did this the other day, don't re-bin with a fellow same sourcer. So, me and my fancy terms here. So basically, if you have a bin and somebody is sourcing similar things to you, don't go to that same bin if they've already been to that bin. Use your time wisely. Yes, they could have missed something, absolutely. And if you've been to every single bin there, then by all means re-bin with them. But if I know that there's a woman that buys the same kind of things as me and she was just there, I'm going to go to a different bin because chances are she already probably picked all the good stuff. And again, yeah, she could have missed something, and sometimes people do. But I'm going to try to use my time wisely and go somewhere where she hasn't been, and I'm usually going to try to go ahead of her if I can. Not in a rude way, but like, measle my way around and go to a bin that she hasn't hit yet, so that way I can get the good stuff first. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Do stock the people that are opposite sourcers for their go backs. So I've had such good luck with this, especially recently. We have a lot of people that I don't know if they are sourcing things to send back home to their Caribbean island, or what exactly their racket is, what exactly they do. And I don't mean to group them all, but there is a group, and so they don't source for the same things that I do. I don't know. I always try to pay attention so that maybe I can be helpful to them, but I can't really quite put my finger on exactly what they're buying. But they throw back stuff that I want, and that's all I need to know. So I usually, after a bin section has been opened and everybody does the initial grab, and then they kind of all retreat to their various corners and they want to go through their stuff and throw back their go backs, I try to not just keep digging in that area because they just pick a lot of stuff. So they might have had really good stuff, and what's the point of me going around looking for the scrap? So I'll try to look at what they're doing, where are they, and stalk them and kind of stay around. And as they throw back things that they don't want, I can snatch it up if it's something that I want. And maybe everybody does this. I don't know. I just thought that this was cool, and I only recently started doing it, and I feel like I've gotten such great stuff that like I wanted to share it, but maybe people do this already. I don't know. But I've gotten 2 Lululemon, what was it called? Define jacket, some kind of jacket, I forget. And I've already sold 2 of them for well over $60. I mean, that paid for multiple trips right there. Just boom, and she threw back the Lululemon, and I saw it, and I snatched it, and then boom, she threw another one, and I grabbed them both, and I was so excited because I knew that was like money. And it was. They've thrown back True Religion jeans, Tory Burch. I mean, some of my best stuff has come from them not wanting it and just tossing it back like it's, faded glory. Like, let me have it. So, stock the opposite sourcers. Okay. Next, check the pockets. We're obviously there to do a job. We're there to find items to resell. But if you are just going through things, why not give a little squeeze to those pockets and see if you feel like there's anything in there? Because I have found so far in all of my bins experience, $80. And that's paid for multiple trips. I mean, I usually spend anywhere between $30 and $50 per trip. So finding $80 just randomly in pockets is amazing. I mean, part of me is like, I should just go there and forget about trying to buy clothes, just try to find money, but that doesn't make sense. So, I would check the pockets when you can. I mean, I forget about it all the time, but if it occurs to you, you never know. Sometimes you'll get lucky. So I think it's worth to check the pockets and maybe get some free hauls out of it. Next up is tackle a whole bin. So there's people that kind of just walk through and pick what's off the top. And if it's there and it's on the top and they think it's good, they'll pick it up and they just keep moving through and they let everybody else kind of do the dirty work of like picking everything up and smushing things around and sorting it all through and moving the clothes around so you can really get to everything. And I'm not one of those people. I am a nitty-gritty, get in there and like dive in. So for me, I tackle a whole bin and I'll start from left to right or right to left and I will move stuff over and literally go through basically every item. I mean, I don't necessarily touch every item, but I move through it systematically front to back so that I can make sure that I can say, yes, check, this bin is done. There's nothing of value here and I can move on to the next one. I don't know, like I just can't half-ass a bin. Like I have to do it my way. So, hello. So, you can definitely do the cherry pick method and that's less dirty work. But for me, I tackle the whole bin and I really get in there. And I feel like that leads me to a lot of things that were kind of on the bottom or mixed in that other people wouldn't have found. And I get to it first because I took that extra step. So tackle a whole bin. It's a crapshoot whether you go to this bin or you go to the next bin. So I'd rather just do a deep dive into the one bin. Also, trust your instincts. We're not mind readers, but I feel like every once in a while, like I get a feeling or I get like drawn to a certain bin. I know this is sounding stupid, but like I just get pulled to a bin. And then when I go there and I look, I find something good. So I don't know if it's the reseller gods, if it's, like the general god, whoever you think that is and whatever. But like, if you get an instinct, if you get a gut feeling, go with it. And that leads me to good stuff a lot of the time. So I'm going to keep following that. And I thought I would recommend it because I think some people don't have a system and that's part of my system. Scan the bin. So especially when they're getting ready to open a new bin section and you have some downtime or if it's not busy, I usually try to before I dive in, scan the bin and just kind of get a sense of what's there and if it's worth even diving in. And so I scan, do I see any tags sticking up? Not the Goodwill tags. Do I see any retail tags? So I know to grab there first. Do I see any obvious labels of something that I would want? Do I see something that looks like it could be a high value item, like something leather or something that's in style like a vintage denim or something that has a nice print? What are you drawn to? And you get that by scanning. Sometimes, when I know that I love selling Angora sweaters, and when I see the very fuzzy sweater, I usually go for that first because that usually ends up being money for me. So, the things that you're looking for, try to scan for that first. So that way you're not wasting time looking through a whole bin and you realize that it's all just little kids' clothes and you don't sell little kids' clothes or something like that. I don't know. What's next? Yes, so feeling matters. This is why I don't wear gloves. Mostly, right now I can only really say that it's maybe to find like something that's Lululemon because there's a distinct feel to those leggings and those items. But most of the time I feel like it's for just like high quality in general, and I can't really put a finger on how to describe that. But otherwise, cashmere and just kind of the softer knits of usually sweaters and things like that, that I can, usually feel out. And so you can go through and be like, oh, this is a rough sweater, this is a soft sweater, this is a rough sweater, this is a soft sweater. And so by feeling it and by having the gloves, that has helped me pick out, or by not having the gloves, that has helped me pick out a lot of cashmere items. And I really try to do a lot of cashmere items, and I've had really good luck with cashmere items. So for me, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Again, with the Angora, I'm trying to think of some other examples. I mean, maybe a silk, but sometimes you get fooled with that. Or at least I do. I don't really know. I mean, denim is denim. So I don't really know what other kind of example I can provide for that, but I prefer to feel for things. And I think that has served me well, and that's why I continue to do it. Yeah, every once in a while you get, a wet item or something, but it's not too bad. I think it's worth it to look for the match. I don't mean the entire day look through every single bin just to find the match to something that is maybe not a big deal, but if you find something of high value and it's a separate, I think it's worth it to look for the match to it. Now that's different if you're doing shoes, because I feel like I don't look for shoes a lot, and I never really had good luck finding the matches to shoes. So I'm not talking about shoes. I'm talking about clothing items, because if it's raw donations, or even if it's tagged items from the Goodwill and it had a set to begin with, they probably are together. They may not be in the same bin, but they might be scattered in the same vicinity of bins. And so a lot of times I do find the match. And just recently, this was in one of my hauls, I found the top to a Lily Pulitzer bathing suit. And I said, God, it would be awesome if I could find it. Like, I was going to pick up the top anyway, but I said, it'd be awesome. Maybe it's here. And I searched the entire bin, and it wasn't until I got to the last corner that, lo and behold, I found the bottoms. And so now that's worth so much more as a set, and it was worth going. And I found some other things in the process of going through that bin looking for that match. And that's why I feel like whether I go through this bin looking for a match or I go through this bin brand new, it doesn't really matter. It's all a crapshoot. So I might as well really dive in and really go through this bin and try to find the match. And sometimes if I pull something out that's like maybe pajamas, like a lot of times Victoria's Secret pajamas or whatever, and I'll pull it out, and or a higher end bathing suit usually too, and I pull it out and then I don't find the match. So then I throw it back if it's not something I want to go ahead and take anyway. Just make sure you do that. You don't just leave it in your cart if you don't want to sell it without the match. But I do think it's worth it. So if you don't normally go through looking for matches for separates, I think you should. Listen, so I don't know if they do this at your Goodwill bins, or if they do this everywhere, but at ours, like the security guy who kind of manages everything, he will go and find carts that are unattended, and you should always be with your cart. And so he dumps them basically if you don't claim your cart. So he's going to say, whose cart is this? And when I hear that, I like beeline for that area, because that's perfectly good stuff that somebody put in their cart that they picked that he's about to dump if they don't claim their cart. Now, sometimes, and most of the time, people will claim the cart, and so whatever. But as soon as he calls for it, I get right in his general area, because when he dumps it, I want that stuff. I want to at least have the opportunity to look at that stuff and see if it's good stuff, if it's stuff I want. Now, sometimes he's tricky about it, and he'll dump it in the section that's not open yet, so that people like me don't go in and scrounge for it. And then you have to wait till that new section is open. And by that point, then I don't care. But if I can get it while he's dumping it, I try to get over there and get it. And I think that that's an interesting way to try to find good stuff, because again, if somebody initially picked it, there had to have been something there. It may not be the exact value of stuff that you're looking for, but it's valuable in some way, shape, or form. So you should try and see what you can get from that. And the last one, I don't know why I saved this for last, but anyway, I listen for the tags. And this is another one of those weird ones. So I feel like when I pick up a bunch and I kind of throw it or move things, or you're kind of shifting the bin around and get to different stuff. When I toss the clothes, I listen for the tags, and I feel like most of the time I can tell the difference between a retail tag sound sounds so stupid, and a Goodwill tag sound. And so I can immediately look in the direction that I hear the sound, and usually I find the item with the retail tags. I don't know. Can you do that? Like, tell me in the comments below if that's like a strange thing, if you've ever done that, if you even know what I'm talking about. Because I feel like I can listen for the tags, and if I hear retail tags, I'm going to grab it. It may not be something I want. It might be faded glory, but still, I think that's a good way to do it. I feel like that's an efficient way to listen for the tags, and when you toss the items, go there first. You could still go through the entire bin, but I want to grab that item with the tags that I heard before someone else comes over and snags it when I'm over here looking. So I try to prioritize where my hands go based on what my ears hear, if that makes sense. And I know that's strange. I don't know what to tell you on that. So there you have it. We covered a lot. We covered what I bring and what I don't. We covered my quality checklist and my review process, and we covered the random, crazy, weird strategies that I have when I go to the Goodwill outlet and the Goodwill bins. And this may be complete nonsense for some people that have been going to the bins for a long time and have their own systems, but I'm more doing this for someone that maybe doesn't go often and is really trying to make the most of the trip, because as reselling moms, we only have a certain amount of time, or maybe someone that's considering of going to the bins and hasn't yet. So I hope that, someone that's watching this that's a super experienced reseller isn't like, duh, this is stupid. If you have those comments, I don't want to hear them, like, this was not meant for you. But thanks for watching anyway. I do appreciate it. But this is for someone that was just trying to get a better idea of what to do at the bins. And, even if you listened to the whole video and you picked out one nugget, maybe that will help you, and you never know what that will lead to. So wishing you the best of luck on your next Goodwill bins adventure, endeavor, what have you. And I hope you'll consider subscribing, and I hope you'll come back again for more videos. Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you on the next one. And remember, Mama's Boss Best. Take care.